saying, "Hi, Mom, how's it going?"
Welcome to our 20th episode of Apex Instant Tips, coming to you live every Friday at 12:05 Eastern Time for 5 minutes only from Massachusetts. My name is Hayden.
And I'm Anton and Hayden. It's great to be back with you on a Friday afternoon. As folks probably know by now, we spend just 5 minutes giving a tip, but then we'll stick around for a few minutes for anybody that wants to listen to us banter about what happens to be out there. So this week, we're going to jump right in, get this tip over with, and we're going to, let's go ahead and share my screen, and we'll start the timer even as I describe what we're getting at here.
We're looking at Anton's screen.
Yes, this is my screen. And as is often the case, I was working diligently right up to the moment of this meeting, which meant that I had gone off and gotten a cup of coffee. And what happened is when I returned to this screen that you had sent me, this application, and I had been doing something on it, I'm not really sure what I had been doing, but as I navigate away from the page, I get the message that changes may not be saved. And when I click cancel, I don't have any indication as to what it was I changed. So I don't really know if it's okay, if I should save it. I don't know what I did. I don't know if I shouldn't save it. Can you help me out here and tell me what did I change so I know if I can leave the page?
Completely. So first off, at the top, I'll acknowledge that you can spare yourself this trouble by switching off warn on unsaved changes at the page level or at the item level.
Yeah, but then I don't know what I changed. So I want the warning. I just want to know what did I change?
So I have the solution for you. So this question that you have is very timely, as it happens, because we are contributing to a conversation.
Oh, you better get that timer started.
Yes, my bad.
I think we're going to have to end with like 30 seconds.
No, you're right. We cheated a little bit. So this conversation was started at the end of January of this year by Martin de Souza, where he published a series of blog posts about how to find out which item has been changed in Apex. And I thought I would pick up where he left off and try to see what we could do to enhance the Apex user experience to give you that valuable information. So let me go ahead and start with a demo of what I have achieved. So let me give this a valid condition so that it runs. And I know this is meaningless to our audience, but bear with me. So now when I submit that change to the page.
So this is the same kind of page, in fact, it's the same application, same page I was looking at.
Same application, my application. So if I make any change on this page and I try to navigate away, I get this warning, as you saw. But now when I click
that's exactly what I was looking for.
I get the information that I'm looking for, which is which item specifically changed. And so now when I save,
Perfect.
The experience replicates as we go through it. So
just what I was looking for. How do you do this magic?
Yeah. So what is the magic behind this? It's mainly just JavaScript. So I have published a gist that we'll link to in our show notes and right here with the QR code that Mishka is going to provide. And in this JavaScript, I make use of the very user-friendly Apex APIs. I loop through all the items on the page. As you can see,
I'm going to point out, these are pretty well documented in the JavaScript API documentation of Apex. So they are, they're usable. There's no problem using them.
Yes, and on the event of Apex telling me that this item has changed and that it does not include the ignore change, which happens when you switch off ignore change on the item level, it will push this error message that will then display at the item level for that item. All of this runs conditional on on the unload event being detected on the Apex page and no request being sent. So if you send the save request or the delete request or what have you, this will not run, which you wouldn't want it to run.
Right. So if you push any buttons from Apex, it's not going to. There may be other scenarios where you want it to run or don't, and you could change this as meets your needs, but that's a great starting point.
Right. So you could just include this JavaScript at the application level. So you could just link to it here as I have, and uncomment this first row here, and it'll work. However, it will run independent. It'll run on every page, whether or not you have the page level setting of worn and unsaved pages, unsaved changes. So there's one. So the recommendation is comment this line out, and
as it is now. Yeah.
As it is now, and go to page 0 of your application. Go to page 0 of your application, and create a dynamic action on page load, which selectively runs with the server-side condition of unsaved changes being set to yes.
Right. So you're only going to run this if the page actually has worn on unsaved changes, and any other page it won't apply to.
Right. And then in the event of that being the case, it'll then run the line that you commented out, so that confirm that the warning will happen when you try to exit the page.
And it looked to me like you even had comments in your JavaScript code that discuss all of this.
Yeah, so here I describe what you need to do, and I have some suggestions for how you might enhance this code further should you want to.
Right. Rarely is there a perfect always solution with everything. So we're at 40 seconds. I'm going to say we should call it right here because we did cheat just a little bit.
I'm inclined to agree.
So I think that this is great. I would, much like we talked about with the time zone global setting, it would be nice if this just happened automatically, if you didn't need to do this.
Yeah.
But as a little bit of a workaround, I think it works great. And
yeah. And it was fun to have this collaborative conversation and include Martin de Souza. So he published that blog. I replied to that blog with some suggestions that I had, and we're going to keep the conversation going.
All right. Well, check out the gist and feel free to use the code, download it, put it in your application. I think folks will get a lot of utility out of this. I know it's something that I truly do run into. I want to invite everybody that wants to stick around for a few extra minutes. I'm sure that 2 or 3 of you will. And everybody else that wants to check out now, do all the things, ring my bell, subscribe, like, send a letter to your mom, tell her about the show.
In fact, is someone's mom in particular watching the show?
I think there may be a live mom viewer this week. So, hi, Mom. So, Hayden, I'm going to jump into, if people have questions, go ahead and ask your questions throughout the show. But while we're waiting on them, okay, I'm going to let this one go straight to you. I was waiting for this question.
I think it's a great idea. So maybe I'm not a very experienced plugin creator, but I think it's a pretty easy candidate. So I will definitely give it some thought.
Yeah, it could definitely be a dynamic action plugin, and it could be really good. So great question. I was waiting for that very one. This time you're on the spot to build the plugin, Hayden. Last time it was me.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
So I was starting to say, this week's Wisdom of the Week really has an audience of 1. If just 1 person follows this Wisdom of the Week, I will be happy. So we'll go ahead and put this up on the screen. Only enter into social media with a purpose. And that purpose could be, I want to check on my kids. I want to check, I want to look at Joel Coleman's Twitter feed, something like that. But never enter just because you are bored, because that's when you get, it's a total time suck and you engage in things you shouldn't engage in and that kind of thing.
Right. Absolutely. So both as a contributor and as a consumer of social media, don't operate under the influence of boredom.
Right. I think that, yes. And can you guess who the audience of 1 would be?
Are your daughters perhaps watching this?
No, it is me. If just 1 person takes that advice and it's me, I will be satisfied.
Well, I will certainly take that under advisement. I think I'm often bored and resort to social media.
And we've gotten a little engagement on that very topic, but that is my wisdom for this week. So I don't know if we've got any other questions. If you have any other thoughts, Hayden, we can continue.
Yeah. So normally at this point we might introduce a puzzler, but we don't have a puzzler this week. But I did want to follow up with you, Anton, on something. You mentioned at the top of the hour that you like to make yourself coffee, and I understand that you're quite the talented barista.
Oh, well, talented may be a stretch for sure, but I don't occasionally play around with the latte art and so forth. I actually have a couple of pictures here. I'll show you some of the things that I've done. Those are some of the latte art I've done.
Anton, I'm afraid this probably is not doing justice to your talents. I can't make out what you're showing me.
And with that really unscripted segue, we can introduce a new segment in the show, our off-topic tip. So this week we're going to do an off-topic tip, and if you want to share my screen, Hayden, I'll show something that I very recently found, and I think it is the bee's knees, as they say. I'm going to go ahead and start a Zoom meeting, and from my Zoom meeting, I'm going to share a screen, but I'm not going to share a screen. I'm going to share this right here, where I think you can see. Oh, I hope you can see.
Yes,
maybe you can't. It's at the top right. It says iPhone via iPad.
Yep, we can see
that right there. Okay, I'll click share on that. That allows me to swipe up on my screen and do screen mirroring on my phone. And when I do that, my phone automatically shares to, let's see, can I get that working? All right, so I'm going to click share. There we go. Now we actually see my phone screen directly. Right through Zoom, I can share my phone. Now I can show my photos a little bit more easily. My laptop is about to blow up with all this screen sharing and zooming and so forth. But I think you can see a much better image here of some of my. Ooh, that one's not so good. We'll move on to the next one. Some of my latte art. And there you have it. That's this week's off-topic tip. Sharing your iPhone screen directly through Zoom. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing, and I'll even sign out of my Zoom meeting here so that my laptop doesn't catch on fire.
We got no sponsorship from Zoom for that segment.
I think it might only work. I think it only works for an iPhone, and I don't know if it only works on a Mac, but it's something I came across recently, and I thought it was really super useful.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah. And we this show is about Apex, but we all use Zoom, so I think that's very useful.
And I do like this the comment, didn't happen if it doesn't work for Android. Well, we will perhaps reach out to our vast network of associates at Zoom and see if we can get something similar implemented for Android. But Hayden, I think we have wasted a perfectly good 13 minutes of people's time. That's about all we need, I think.
Sounds good to me. I look forward to seeing you again next Friday.
Sounds great. People should do all the things.
Yes.
Like subscribe, send letters to your friends, all those things.